Hey, what's up? Alberto Pau here. And in this quick video, I'm going to answer a question that I get asked very frequently. And it's a very important question, which is which broker should I use to trade options? So, to be clear, we are referring here to stock options traded on the US exchanges for the most part. We are not talking about binary options, which are a very different kind of instrument, if we can call it an instrument, more of a scam, if you ask me. So, which broker should you use to trade options? So, to be very clear, the vast majority of brokers will be either forex brokers or options brokers. Very few brokers out there will allow you to have both forex trading and options trading within the same account. Even for the few brokers who do offer the combined account, I always recommend to use separate accounts. It makes things a lot easier. So number one, it allows you to choose from a much wider variety of brokers because you're not tied to having to choose a broker that allows you to do both. And also it's a lot easier from an accounting and a performance perspective because you know that you have a pot of funds dedicated to trading options and a pot of funds dedicated to trading forex. So it allows you to track your trading performance in forex and in options very easily if you have them separate. So, with that said, the broker that I use most of the time is Charles Schwab in the US. So that we're on the same page. If you live in the US, you will have a much wider variety of brokers to choose from. If you live outside of the US, there will be fewer brokers, but still, there's a pretty good choice of very decent brokers that you can open an account with. So, I personally trade with Charles Schwab the majority of the time. They used to be trading under two different brands, Options Express and Charles Schwab. A couple of months ago, so they own both brands, and a couple of months ago they merged both brands under a single brand, i.e. Charles Schwab. So I trade with them. I also have secondary accounts, but I do most of my trading with them. Why do I have secondary accounts? Just in case there is a technical glitch of any type or anything happens with the Schwab account, I can fall back onto other accounts. So which broker should you use? Well, a lot of it will depend on two main factors. Number one is which country you live in. And number two is how much, what type of funds do you have to open the account with. So, if you live in the US, you have a much wider choice. And the ones that I recommend are obviously Charles Schwab and also interactive brokers. So, the thing with interactive brokers is that they tend to be more on the advanced side. Their platform is more advanced, and they are one of those brokers that allow you to trade both Forex and options within the same platform. Keeping that in mind, last time I checked with them, their minimum deposit amount was about $10,000. Now, very important. The minimum deposit amounts that I am going to mention in this video, A, are subject to change, B, do change all the time, and C, they also vary per country. So you may have a certain deposit amount if you live in Australia, for example, which may be lower than the one that if you live in the US, for example. So, with that said, interactive brokers, good option. To the best of my knowledge, last time I checked, $10,000 minimum deposit. We then have Charles Schwab, also based in the US. They take clients pretty much worldwide, just like interactive brokers. With them, the minimum deposit is $25,000, so $25,000. What happens if you don't have that type of capital to open an account with? There are a number of other brokers that you can use. that you can use and open an account with for much smaller volume. Again, a lot of this is country specific. So for example, if we look at the UK, there is a broker called eOption. It's a minor broker. I haven't used them personally, so I cannot comment, but as I understand, you can open an account with potentially a few £100 or maybe £1,000 or £2,000, so much smaller amount. There is also another broker based in the UK who take clients pretty much worldwide with the exception of the US and a few other countries, and they are called Saxo Markets. Saxo Markets. Again, decent platform. I have an account with them. I think their minimum deposit is like £1,000 or £2,000. So a lot more affordable to most people. So that's a couple of options. If you're based in Europe, okay. If you're based in Australia, I know there are a few options brokers locally. I don't have the specific names. I know that Charles Schwab do accept, so even though they're based in the US as a broker, they accept clients out of Australia. They used to have an office in Australia. Now, if you are wondering what is the minimum deposit amount with Schwab, I would ring them up and ask them because it may well be that it's a different amount for people based in Australia. I don't know. It's something that you'd have to check. A few other brokers based in Australia, if you prefer someone locally, I would just do a quick Google search and take it from there. Also, you can also open an account with a broker based in the US, even though you're not, even if you're not a US resident. So in that respect, another great broker is TD Ameritrade that trades under the brand of Think or Swim. That is think like thinking or swimming like swimming in the sea. Think or Swim, great platform, very competitive conditions, great broker overall. The great thing about Think or Swim is that no matter where you are based, you can open a free demo account with them. All you have to do is provide them with an email and you have immediately a demo account. Why do I mention this? Because the majority of brokers will require you to open an account, not necessarily fund it, but they will require you to open an account and provide documents, etc., to give you a demo account. The great thing about Think or Swim is that you don't need to do any of that. All you have to do is provide an email address. So if you're based in Australia, Think or Swim may be a good option. I would check with them if they take Australian and in this case New Zealand residents, etc. For example, I know that they don't take UK residents. So if you are based in the US, you have a lot of options. Think or Swim, Schwab, you have quite a few other ones. If you Google them, I think there's about at least a dozen of them. There's a few other ones. Their names escape me. So we have, I think it's Fidelity. Don't quote me on this. I may be getting confused. They also have their own brokerage. Essentially, a lot of even your bank or whoever you trade if you have any funds or savings with, they may even offer you they may even offer you a broker account. So that's kind of an overview. If you're based in the US, you have a lot of choice. If you're based in Europe, you can do Schwab, you can do interactive brokers, great platform, professional level, higher deposit amounts, or you can do Saxo Markets or eOptions, and there's a few other minor brokers. If you're based in Australia, New Zealand, Schwab are good. There's a few local brokers. I would research them locally, or you may be able to go to Think or Swim or other brokers based in the US. Like I said, a lot of this, it really, A, changes all the time, and B, it really is very much a case-by-case scenario in terms of where you're living and what your initial deposit amount is. What I have tried to do in this video is to give you the key names that I am aware of and that I've personally used, so that you kind of have a high-level overview of who are the big names. With that said, there are a lot of smaller brokers who also are very competitive on terms and commissions, and also they offer great service. So I recommend you search them locally, but hopefully at least these big names, they provide you with a good starting point. So with that said, this is specifically mostly for people who are in my program, the Trading for Income War Room. So that's you have the URL there if you're interested. If you're not part of the program, to find out more, that's tomorrowintrading.com/war room. So yeah, it's just kind of to give you a very high level overview of how to choose a broker. Who are the big names and where to get started. So post in the comments below who are you using, or any good or bad experiences. Overall, I would say compared to Forex brokers, for example, options brokers, they tend to be a lot more professional and legit. It's a very different caliber of businesses. Anyway, I digress. I hope this was useful. I hope this gives you kind of a high level overview on which broker you should use to trade stock options.